Today we're joined by Madeleine, who is the head of community at Wyblo.
I'm based out in Los Angeles, but our entire team is in Italy. Our community started for our Italian startup Wyblo. We focus on providing professional training organizations and freelance trainers a platform to support their day-to-day business and training activities.
And did you mention that you're using WhatsApp communities, the new-ish feature?
Yes. So we started off as a WhatsApp group, just, the basic WhatsApp group. And that was, to me, very chaotic. You could not get enough information from. And then we were able to make that transition from WhatsApp group chats to the Net community feature. And it's been a great, we have our different topic chats. It just makes everything a lot easier to manage both on our end, but also from our members' ends.
And which note app are you using?
Good Notes. I love that you can keyword search, but then also change to text. So if it is, something important, we're not losing it on our digital shared space. And being able to PDF my notebook and just sending it to people is also very helpful.
Yeah, Good Notes is great. I've been using Good Notes for a few years, and this year I moved back to paper, and I'm enjoying moving back to paper. I feel like it's nice having it next to me, but what I think I'm enjoying the most is just the change. Why don't you say hello? Hello and welcome to the Digital Community Managers podcast, where we chat with community managers, champions and founders about their experience leading and supporting communities. My name's Pete Heslop and I lead the team here at Steadfast Collective, and we exist to craft digital applications that bring people together. We created the Digital Community Podcast to be a bite-sized look into what it takes to start, grow and scale communities. Today we're joined by Madeleine, who is the head of community at Wyblo. Why don't you say hello?
Yeah, hi everyone. It's so great to be here. So happy to be here. So thank you, Pete, for inviting me to be a part of this.
You are so welcome. So you're based out in LA. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at work?
Yeah, so I'm Madeleine. I'm based out in Los Angeles, but our entire team is in Italy, scattered around. We started as an Italian. Our community started for our Italian startup Wyblo. We focus on providing professional training organizations and freelance trainers a platform to support their day-to-day business and training activities. We started as a community, as a traditional and typical marketing community. But as we started working with our members and getting to know them more, we realized that there was a bigger opportunity to make this a more independent organization. So we, took that leap of faith and became Ecosistema Formazione Italia, which is translate to the Italian training ecosystem. I know that's a really long thing to say, so we just say EFI. And for my day-to-day activities, right now we're focused on kind of creating a more long-term strategy and fully diving into how we can best support our community members. So some of my job or some of my day-to-day activities focus, on kind of figuring out where we want to go and what we want to do in the next few years. But also ensuring that our marketing is steady, our community members are happy and getting the resources that they need, and also finding those resources if we don't already have them at hand.
That's great. And what sort of members would be part of your community? Like, why would somebody join? Like, why would people get involved with kind of Wyblo?
Yeah. So we have. So our Wyblo community would be guest focused on our community or our users, but EFI will be focused kind of on three audience members. We have our professional trainers, so those that provide professional training to either individuals, corporate organizations, or those that provide that internal training in larger organizations. So sometimes, corporates have training departments. We also support them. We also have those that are interested in purchasing training. So for instance, like I said, those individuals, corporate organizations, HR, or those that are just interested on how they can professionally develop. We want to be kind of a
Mm.
resource for them to give our members, that type of support. They're like, business support, but also making sure that the general Italian community has, the resources to professionally develop. And then, of course, we recognize that, you know, training isn't a single faceted or a single job. There's many jobs that go into training. And so we also
Mm.
do have, our training suppliers, those that support, or we call them training supporters, those that support training organizations through their technology, business services, to kind of not only supply resources and, their expert knowledge, but also to, invite them into the community. Maybe they, of course, can also benefit from, I guess, the wealth of professional training.
Nice. And how are your community gathering? Is it an online only or a meeting in person? How are they gathering?
So right now we're more focused on that virtual community aspect. Even though Italy has amazing transportation,
Mm.
not everyone can travel across to meet. So we do tend to meet virtually. We have everyone, and this is a very hot take in the community industry, but we have a WhatsApp group. We are participating in the WhatsApp community. It's what
Yep.
works best for our members. All of our members have WhatsApp, and they wanted something that they didn't have to sign up again, or they didn't have to add another Slack channel. So we have a WhatsApp group, and that is how we communicate, I guess, on the day-to-day basis. But for those, more person to person interactions, we have monthly meetings where we kind
Mhm.
of give updates of what's going on in our community, giving our members the opportunity to share their upcoming projects, ask questions. And this month, in 8 days, 9 days, sorry, we are hosting our first virtual networking event. And so that's
Wow.
going to be only specific for, one-to-one networking,
Mm.
um, matchmaking, things like that.
Yeah, and especially over in Europe, I think it's a slightly less hot take because everybody uses WhatsApp for everything. Like
Yeah.
it is where most of my communities gather. A lot of my tech-based communities, yeah, we have Slack, we have all of those kind of things. But if we're talking about community in the rawest form, it's where all of my parenting groups are. It's where all of my like sports communities are. It's where all of my friends are. It's where my family are. It's where just different organizations I'm involved in. That's how we gather and organize. If it's work related, it's on Slack. If it's not, then it's in WhatsApp.
Yeah, and that's where I think the interesting part of us is that we kind of balance that like work, but then also one-to-one community. What we learned when we made the transition from Wyblo community to EFI was people want that one-to-one connection or that
Hmm.
community professional networking. And that's something that a startup product community just could not fulfill. Working together for a product or people users using a product, is great. But working together for a like larger cause, especially something as important as the training industry or learning and
Mm.
development or adult learning, that's something that like we recognized just could be better with less focus on our product and more focus on just not to sound cheesy, but the greater good.
And did you mention that you're using WhatsApp communities, the new-ish feature?
Yes. So we started off as a WhatsApp group, just the
Hmm.
basic WhatsApp group, and that was to me very chaotic. You could not get enough information from. And then we were able to make that transition from Wyblo, just or not, excuse me, Wyblo, WhatsApp group chats to then that community feature, and it's been a great. We have our different topic chats. And it just makes everything a lot easier to manage both on our end, but also from our members' ends.
And am I right in saying that WhatsApp community is essentially a collection of WhatsApp groups?
Yeah, so what we currently have is kind of like our EFI community. Um, that's like the general umbrella. And then we
Hmm.
have just a scatter of different groups that members can join if they'd like. So we have on our resources page different links for different groups. So that way they're able to join
Mm.
based off of what they're interested in, their topics, what their goals are ultimately. And, and from there they can, focus on what they're looking for and not get, overwhelmed with all the extra noise of what other members are talking about if it doesn't apply to them.
Nice. And most importantly, they already have it. It's already on their phone and they don't have to learn a new piece of software.
Exactly. Though there was that learning curve of, I'm in this group. Don't I have access to all the other groups? And there was a
Sure.
small learning curve. For a moment, our team was bombarded with, "Hi, can I please join this WhatsApp group?" But after that, it has been smooth sailing.
Nice. Fab. Well, we're going to jump into some questions, which are going to be really, really good to get your take on.
Yeah.
Um, so let's kick things off. So, what would be your number one tip for growth? Now, growth can mean numbers, or it could mean progression towards your kind of goals and aims as an organization, as a community.
Yeah, so I think, the biggest thing that I think our entire team had to learn is that it's okay to make mistakes. And I think
Mm,
that with that mindset and not taking things as a mistake, but rather a learning opportunity, I think leads to the ultimate growth, both in terms of numbers and in terms of, just the general creation of the community. Um, and that is because with, like I said, your mistakes are your learning opportunities. All community members, if you're jumping from one community to another, they're going to have different styles, different tastes, especially if you're working, I
mm,
think, with a community that focuses on professional topics. There's a different culture within each profession, with each within each work culture, and so you're going to have to adjust for their needs. And in order to adjust, you need to learn what they're interested in. And if it's different from your
mm.
perspective or what your traditional, professional culture is, there's going to be mistakes, and those are okay. I also think, being open to those mistakes means you're open to taking more risks. And
Mm,
risks those risks you can take, some of them, fall flat, but some of them can lead to a larger growth opportunity. Um, and I think that is what we've seen, from our transition from Wyblo to Effie. We were unsure if people would be interested in a community that just focuses on professional training. And it's not professional marketing and professional training or learning analytics and professional training. Um, it's just professional training. And that was,
mm.
a really big risk, but we've, definitely expanded our market, or not our market, excuse me, our audience, which has led to more growth for, our members in terms of their network, their business opportunities, and, just their knowledge.
Nice. And then from those kind of mistakes and learnings, are you how are you kind of ensuring that you can take them forward? Are you documenting them so they're kind of written down as like a list of things that maybe think about again, or kind of how are you kind of handling those learnings?
Yeah, so and this is more of a personal,
Yeah.
record collecting, is that I take a lot of notes in meetings. I always have, I used to have a journal, now I have an iPad. If you're like, you know, the iPad is great because I have, instead of having, stacks of notebooks that I will once in a while review, but not a lot, kind of, takes up space. But having it
Mm.
all digitally, and then, I'm able to do some keyword searching, it's great. But I just take notes, and if something doesn't work out, I'll go back to the meeting or back to the note where we thought of the idea, and
Nice.
I'll make a note saying that's not a good
Yeah,
idea. It's very messy. No one, I don't think, will ever be able to read it. But that's how
that's okay.
we kind of,
Mm,
go back to what we need. And I'm that person to say, did we try this yet? And I'll go through the
nice.
notes.
And which note app are you using on your iPad?
Good notes.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
very new to the iPad, which is why I'm very excited about this. But I love that you can, keyword search, but then also change to text. So if it is, something important, we're not losing it on our digital shared space, which I think is important
Ye
too. Um, and being able to PDF my notebook and just sending it to people is also very helpful. So if
Yeah.
there's like, specific meetings we're looking for, things like that, it's just, it's really nice.
Yeah, GoodNotes is great. I've been using GoodNotes for a few years, on my iPad, and this year I moved back to paper, and I'm enjoying moving back to paper. I feel like it's nice having it next to me, but what I think I'm enjoying the most is just the change. I don't think one is better than the other. I like both. I miss having, um, lots of features on GoodNotes compared to I do on paper and pen, but I quite like having the change. It's quite nice having something different next to me when I'm trying to work.
No, yeah. And I also think it makes it fun for doodles.
Yeah, fair.
Because if you have a good doodle while you're in meeting, you can take it out and, keep it with you.
Nice. Fab. So, in terms of engagement and engaging your community, what's your secret sauce? What are you doing to try and keep your audience, your members, engaged and kind of really excited about what you're doing over?
What we have learned is our members are really interested in, like I said, that one-to-one networking. So
Mm,
we will, reach out to our members and sit, kind of have office hours. And that is where our members can meet with members of our team. There's three of us on the team, which, so I'm saying members as if it's a large amount, but our members of the team to kind of just see, kind of do a temperature check. Where are they at in the community, but also what are they looking for professionally or sometimes personally for their own personal development? And how can we help? Is it a
mm,
network you're looking for, or another, I guess, community or network you're looking for? Is it a piece of knowledge or information? We kind of look at ourselves as our our team is like kind of a database where if members need something, they can just send us an email. And we can kind of direct them just because we are so early on. I know a year isn't necessarily, we kind of had um, our test community started in July, and then launched fully in September of last year.
mm.
So we're still new. So getting, our power members or our special members to kind of facilitate that, we're still in the process of doing. Right now, we're more focused on getting them accustomed to a professional community since it seems that most haven't um, participated in yet. So it's new for them as much as it's new for us. And so keeping that,
Mm.
I guess, that typical or traditional one-to-one meetings have been really helpful for engagement in terms of keeping them in the community and, going along, I guess, that commitment curve, but also to understand what we need to do to then provide that. And then, of course, keeping them engaged that way.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it's lots of one-to-one interactions, lots of kind of being there for when people need it, that sort of thing. You're really kind of focusing on that personal element, and that works really well, especially when you are slightly smaller and you're able to use that time to really grow out the members who you think are going to become like your like super members, right?
Yeah.
Because you can really kind of impart knowledge and impart values and culture and that kind of stuff at an early age. Because in a couple of years, if membership, exponentially grows, that's not going to be possible. That you might not get a chance to talk to every member, but hopefully your super members, the members that have been around for a while, have those visions and ideals installed because you've been chatting to them all the time.
Yeah, and we really just want to create that culture of connection. Like I said, our members said, they wanted more of that community, that network, that connection,
Mm,
opportunities for collaboration with other members. And we want to really create that culture of not only, networking for your own professional benefits, but networking for and connecting with the mindset that like you're here to help. Um,
mm,
we we kind of interact, or we are on that like middle ground between a professional association but a community, and we are more focused on the community. But in order for our members to understand what's going on, um, we act like an association in that we have, like, that's how we market ourselves, but we want to
mm.
create that culture of a community to then make that transition from community, from like the association marketing over into community. And the difference,
Yeah.
of course, as we know, between associations and communities is associations are more there for individual benefit and professional opportunity, where community is there for everyone. And you're not only helping yourself but helping others. And so those one-to-one interactions are really helpful for creating that culture, because if we're able to take time out of our day of, we still work for the startup, we still have our startup, um,
Mm.
so if we're taking time out of our day to help the community, then you can too, is essentially what the culture we're trying to put in.
Nice. That's good. And over the last 12 months, what's been the biggest challenge for what you're building?
I would say, I mean, we just started. So I think, getting membership from people that we don't know, to
Mm,
me is one of our challenges that we've had. But what we learned is that um, people are interested in, like I said, the biggest thing that you can take from our community journey is that um, a lot of people in our industry are really interested in that connection, and that networking aspect. And what we learned is that a lot of people outside of our network are also interested in that. And so one of the surprising challenges was, how do we help our members talk about EFI? How do we,
mm,
give them the tools as we're trying to figure out, how do we talk about ourselves? What are our marketing angles? What are our channels for growth? But then also telling our members how to talk about us. So when their colleagues, when the people they talk to at conferences, things like that, um, how do they talk about us? So when those new members come in, they're not disappointed, or they're not
mm.
expecting one thing and we're giving the other. And so balancing both, hey, this is how you should talk about us, while we're also trying to figure that out, and making sure that we're not
Yeah.
constantly, changing that information and making everyone confused, I
Mm,
think has been a very difficult thing to balance.
mm.
And that's something that was surprising too, because we thought it was going to be a lot of us trying to grow, but knowing that our members are happy, and getting new members, people that we don't personally know, is always exciting.
Mm. So, apart from everything we've kind of talked about so far in terms of trying to grow and what you're building, is there anything else over the next 12 months that you're really excited about?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things, like we're very, like, we're on the newer side. We see a lot of growth. One thing that we are, interested in we're excited about, is hosting some in-person events. I'm always excited because that means I might get to go to Italy, from Los Angeles, which is always, exciting. But we are looking on doing what we're trying to figure out the name, but what we're calling internally is EFI on tour. So
Mm.
having some learning events, some networking events, a weekend, but through different parts of Italy. One thing that we are very committed to is the idea that opportunities are throughout Italy, not in one specific region. So a lot of
Mhm.
professional networking and development is focused more in Milan, maybe a little bit in Trino. Now we want to make sure that other regions are represented. So taking the time to go out to Sicily, going to Napoli, so what we're excited about is doing this type of event where
Mm.
we are getting people in person, which is of course opportunity to meet new people, and maybe invite them to join us. But having many weekend conferences throughout Italy is one thing that we're excited
Mm.
about. We're also working on um, a very I'm trying to think of the word, big project, as we have gotten a lot of support and a lot of interest to host a larger, more national conference.
Mm.
Um, event where it's our members are speaking, we're inviting people, kind of a traditional conference in the sense of like people are speaking, there's keynote speakers, but taking that a step further and implementing innovative ways to network and to connect with one
Mm.
another. So taking that virtual community and making that in person for a few days. um, so
That
that's
is
one
fun.
thing that we are trying to think about, how to do that in a way that's not just a conference, but an innovative way. A lot of new technology that we're looking at, which I think is always exciting for both community members, but then also ourselves. What's going on in the community space, um, and how can that help us grow?
Nice. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Um, if anybody has any questions about what you're up to, where's the best place for people to find you? Is it LinkedIn?
I would say LinkedIn. Of course, they can always send me an email.
Mhm.
It's but I have a very long first and last name. So you can just find me on LinkedIn, and then I can give you my email.
Fab. Thank you so much for sharing your insight today. I really do appreciate it. And I hope the events go well. And I hope you get to go out to Italy lots and lots.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Pete, for having me today. It's been a lot of fun. This is my first podcast, so
Ah, there we go. Welcome.
it was a good time. Thank you.
It's not too scary. It's just a conversation. Just a conversation between friends. That's all it is.
Yeah. No, that's all it is, and I enjoyed it.
Good. Well, I really appreciate you being here. And we'll be back next time for another Digital Community Managers podcast. See you next time. Thanks.